Hey, what's up, Maniacs? So we're here at the SEMA show 2021 in Las Vegas, and since we had James interviewed on the other truck that he built, we felt that we'll cover this new build that he just did right now. So James, thanks again for talking to us, man.
Thanks for having me.
And tell us a little bit about this ride.
So this is a 41 Dodge Business Coupe. It started off as just a shell and kind of a scat together frame, and I obtained this project through actually building the truck. So that's how the customer came along. So the customer basically had one requirement. He said, I own an aircraft aluminum business, I want a promotional vehicle, and I want it to be an airplane. So he supplied me some original airplane gauges, and basically just gave me free rein. Ran with it, and it turned into an airplane. I think I kind of hit it on the head of the nail.
I think it's safe to say that you did, man. I mean, this thing is just so cool, man. All the little bits and pieces, and then you can sit here all day and find little more details to go, all right, cool, now definitely going with that theme.
Yeah, so the owner of the car has children, and he wanted to be able to have children. He wanted to take his kids with him. So the Business Coupe is originally a two-seater with a big old partial shelf that comes up behind the rear seats. So since the floor was gone, I took that partial shelf out and actually turned it into a four-seater. So that way, and that's probably one of those things that people overlook. Nobody ever notices that portion of it. But it's a pretty big deal because the whole literally firewall to the back is all new structure, all new metal. The rear of the car has been chopped probably about 10 inches, and along with the sides of the car has been cut off as well.
So Ryan and I were walking around it earlier, and he immediately noticed the back seats. He was like, man, this thing's got back seats. How cool is that? So that makes perfect sense as to how those came about, and where that inspiration came from for the aviation, theme. So tell us give us some more details on it. So obviously it's sitting on bags.
Yeah, so it's got a Ford Thunderbird rear end. It's got a one of those Summit universal front straight axles on the front of it. Besides that, all the arms and all the geometry for the bags and the brackets and all that stuff I designed in three-dimensional space and cut it out on a plastic paper and TIG welded it all together. And then when we came to put it on the frame, we just MIG welded the frame. So it's the same thing with the truck. It's got kind of custom air management system. No name brand, but inside it's just got kind of your old school traditional airplane toggle switches.
Controls. So windows, looks like you custom made the windows for it.
Yeah, the windows are custom made just because it's a 41 and it's a Dodge. Nobody really restores Dodges. So if you can't get glass, it's extremely expensive. So everything is plastic.
But it matches the look of the car. The way that it's bolted in, and it just looks correct.
Yeah,
so
I wanted to go for that kind of rivet style. So down the whole side of the car, it's got stainless button heads that would take all the clothes to make it kind of look like rivets.
Because those were the holes from the molding, probably.
Correct. Yeah. Holes for the molding.
So either shave them all.
Or
you bring them back out and make them pop.
Yeah, exactly. So
I like it.
Airplanes have rivets on it, so I wanted to do that. And then now that we're on talking about rivets, looking at this car, there's a lot of rivets on it, and they're not hand set with an air punch because it was distorting and damaging the rivets. So each rivet is hand set and TIG welded from the back. So if you know anything about rivets, they're a lot softer grade of aluminum. So trying to weld a really soft grade aluminum to your 60 series aluminum or your 5000s aluminum it's quite the trick without distorting the shape or the look of the rivet. So
tell us about that exhaust. So that's pretty cool.
So before I got into cars, I was really deep into motorcycles. So a lot of the builds kind of have little knickknacks off the motorcycles. So back in early 2000s, these machine gun exhausts came around, and they had revolvers on it. And, you go to these bike meets and you see them, and you just think to yourself, wow, that is so corny to be on a motorcycle. And then I got this build, and I was like, he wants airplane. I was like, I gotta have these tips because it's gonna be perfect.
It looked like a Gatling gun.
It looks like a Gatling gun. So I had to order them from Taiwan to get them. They don't make them anymore. That style died, and then they used to spin, and then I had a bunch of problems with heat and bearings. You would think straight off the header to a muffler it would be extremely loud when you started, but you can ride this around the street, no earplugs, no anything.
So we always want to ask, what's like the most challenging part of the build? So on this particular build, what would you say that you ran into that was like, man, how do I solve this?
Definitely the most challenging thing on this build was undoing the previous shop's work. So the customer spent about 30 grand, 20 on the chassis, 10 on the motor, and none of that is on this car. The rear end was offset about 2 inches to the passenger side. The front end was in there crooked like this. So just having to cut all that off and redo it, and then just having to explain to a customer that doesn't really understand the process of this, but just wants something cool. Explaining to them that you have to undo something that they paid for, and being your first customer, that presents a whole challenge on its own. But luckily, we're in a modern age where you got video and picture and everything, so I was able to explain all that and work through it.
So that's perfect, man. So this is your first actual commission build. And so we were talking on the truck build, on the other episode. You guys can go back and check out the previous episode that we have with James. So he built that truck kind of as a business card, kind of as a resume. So obviously that worked, because here it is, his first paying customer right here, and it's at the Young Guns with it at the SEMA show.
Before we finish up, I just want to give a huge thanks to 3 of my sponsors that I wouldn't say it wouldn't have been possible without them, but it definitely helped. So first off, I'd like to say a huge thanks to Phoenix Industries. They supplied all the AN fittings for both builds, and being able to see a rendering of a project and just saying I'm down for it and going for it, it's huge. They were my first sponsor. And then I want to give a huge thanks to Comp Turbo. They supply the turbo for the truck. And also I want to say a big thanks to Hopkins Patina. They supply the finish of your patina. So they're the first company to come out with a true wipe-on clear coat that's chemical resistant to gas and brake clean and all that stuff. And you literally just wipe it.
We're going to have to talk to you about that one after the interview, because we're experimenting with some stuff on our bare metal 49. So we'll have to learn a little bit more about that product right there.
Yeah. And it's super affordable. So
why don't you tell everybody out there where they can find you and about your shop?
Yeah, so you can find me. I'm in Chico, California. My shop's name is J Shackleford Engineering, or JSE. J Shackleford Engineering on YouTube, Instagram, and even on Facebook as well.
Right on. So you guys can go give him a follow right there and learn more about what he does. And I just want to thank you, man, for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
To meet with us, and we'll see you guys in the next one.